Hey everyone, and thanks for tuning back in. I am back, and I am back with a very important answer to a very important question I get very often, which is, what do I do to warm up on bass? So the one thing I highly recommend not to do is not to sit down and practice a song that you've been playing at a very high speed the moment that you just pick up the bass. Just like you won't go off and start sprinting as soon as you want to start running, this could result in a very bad injury, and it's the same thing for the bass. You want to take the time, play slow, wake up your muscles, everything that has to do with working when you're playing the bass, which is your fingers, your hands, your arms, your shoulders, even your neck. You want to start things, slow it down, really focus on connecting with the bass, waking up your muscles, and then slowly you build up to that point where you can play faster. So whether you just picked up the bass and you have no idea what to do when you warm up, or whether you already play the bass for a few years and you're just trying to find other ways to make playing feel more comfortable, this is the right place for you. So we're gonna start with just our bodies, right? Because we want to warm up our bodies before we play, because we use our body. Now, we may think that we're just using our hands and our fingers. That's not true. When we're playing the bass, we're using our fingers, we're using our hands, we're really using a lot of our forearm, we're using our shoulder, and we're using our neck. These are all great things to just think about as you start playing. For example, you want to make sure that your shoulders are really loosened up. You can start with just rolling your shoulders a little bit towards the back, towards the front. Of course, there's the very classic, you want to warm up your forearms a little bit. I would say the forearms are probably what does most of the work when you're playing. Obviously, I'm not a physician. I can't tell you for sure, but I know that I always like to warm these up before I play. Do kind of roll your wrists. Your wrists are obviously doing a lot of work as well. You can go up to a wall and just kind of like stretch your hands. That's something I like to do as well. Nice little stretch like this, kind of like get everything waking up so that we can get going. If you're performing, I highly recommend doing more stretches that involve your entire body, because our entire body is really involved when we're playing, especially the shoulders and the neck. Put extra attention on them. But the more stretched, like, you can't go wrong with overstretching, you know? Just make sure that you don't stretch too hard. You just feel the stretch and you don't go over that. But stretching is always a great thing to do before you start playing. Okay, so we're gonna start with the most basic of things, something that I've done since the moment I picked up the bass pretty much. I was taught that and it never left me because it always works. So this is kind of a chromatic half-step exercise just to wake everything up, to make sure that your posture is good, to make sure that your technique is good, to make sure that your sound is good. It sounds and looks like it will be very boring, but it's very important, and it's very much going to influence your playing after this, because it's going to warm up everything that needs to be warmed up. So we're going to start with basically going half steps, up or down. You can go up and then you can go down. Doesn't really matter. You can start wherever you want, and I'll show you how to shift in a way that kind of makes sense as you go. So we're going to work with a metronome on 70, but before we get going with this, I'm just going to show you what to do and what to focus on, and then we're going to go on this together. So we're going to start with the half steps. A few things to kind of look at as you're playing. So we're gonna work to the positions, right? So our positions are gonna be, each finger is gonna get a fret. We have the thumb supporting nicely from the back. Don't have it too rigid, kind of have it so that it could pivot, it could move, like it's supporting, but it's not static on the neck in the back. You wanna make sure that your fingers are kind of close to the strings. You don't want them to be too far. So for example, sometimes I have people play and kind of put so much energy in pressing it so that they go far. You might want to check that your action is low enough so you don't have to put too much pressure on this. But when I play, you'll see that my fingers are really close to the strings, just so I can be more cautious of the energy that it takes me to go from one place to another. The closer you are to the strings, the easier you're going to move. Another thing to pay attention when you're playing this is you want to have your fingers, especially if you're a beginner, you want to have your fingers right above the frets, right? Because that's what's going to prevent the buzzing thing. So that's another thing. If you're struggling with this, this is a great way of just slowing down and really focusing on this. Okay? So those are kind of like the things to focus when you look at your left hand. Shoulders, make sure that they're not going too high. You want to have your body like really relaxed. I like to have my hand kind of like my right hand just lay on the bass body and have my right hand do its thing. And we're of course going to alternate fingers when we're playing our right hand, because that's how we warm up and we play fingerstyle with our right hand. So let's put the metronome on. One thing I will say before is that when we're playing those half notes, what we're gonna do is after we'll start from F, right, and we'll go up. Once we get to the last string, we're gonna go up each string in that one position, meaning 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 and so on. When we get to our last note, which in this case is B, we're just gonna shift half a step up to C and then go all the way down. Right, and then we get to F sharp, then we switch up, we kind of shift up half a step and do it from G, and that's a good way to kind of like cover all the frets going up and down and still be able to have that movement. Now it's important to start either from the bottom going up, or from going up, going down, whatever kind of suits you. But it is important to go through different places on the bass, because obviously there's different spacings in the bass. It's going to be harder when you get to this area. It's going to be easier when you get to this area. You don't have to do the whole bass. It's kind of like, you know, give it a few minutes, give it 3 minutes, give it 4 minutes, give it 5 minutes, whatever you feel your body needs to actually get to the place where it feels like you've been warmed up enough. 2, 3, 4. And so on. Now you can do the same thing going down. 2, 3, 4. Now, if this was too fast for you, go back to half notes. If you feel like you've done this, okay, you've done it for another minute, you're warmed up, then you can start doing it with eighth notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is kind of the most basic warm-up I would do. If you have only 5 minutes, I would recommend going for this. If you have a few more minutes, here's a couple more things that you can do. So one thing I highly recommend doing is not only warming up to the chromatic, but also warming up to the shapes that we use as we play. So if you play and you have good technique, most likely you're using chord shapes, you're using pentatonic shapes, you're using scale shapes. So that's something that would really help you when warming up towards playing a song or playing a session or playing a gig, whatever it is. So the one thing I would go after the chromatic stuff is I would go into practicing chord shapes. Now you can practice chord shapes. This is something that would practice kind of like your mind and your fingers at the same time. You can practice it chromatically, just like we did, which I'll do in a second. But another thing that you could do is you could practice kind of just randomly. Give yourself 3 different triads, for example, and practice those one after another. So you can give yourself, let's say randomly, F sharp, A, and C, right? We want to do a major triad, we'll have F sharp, A, and C. Again, we can put the metronome, and then we play these going up, going down, one after another. 2, 3, 4. And then you can do the same thing, maybe going down. It's something that could really help you practice shifting between one chord and the other, and so it kind of wakes up the hand in different ways. Another way to practice it, you could do it with a circle of fifths, you could do it to the circle of fourths, you can do it to the circle of life. I don't know, whatever works for you, just play those chords, give yourself a list of different chords. That way you can kind of practice finding your way in the bass at the same time and shifting in a timely manner with the metronome. So there's like a whole lot of different things that you can do when you warm up. This is just a great way to get started. After you pass this, what I highly recommend doing is whatever you're playing, don't play at the highest speed that you got to it. Go maybe 20, 25 BPM down, depending on the song, of course, and work your way up from there. Warm up to where you were, just like you would do if you were exercising, right? So warm up where you were. I highly recommend going up 5 BPM at a time as you warm up, and then if you want to try to practice it faster, go after it then. Playing bass, you really want to get in the zone. You want to get your muscles in a good place. You want to get your head in a good pace to actually be able to get better, to play faster, to play, with better sound, and to make sure that your body keeps up with your playing. So these are really important things to do. Hope you enjoyed watching it. If you do something else when you warm up and you want to kind of like let us know, please do say it in the comments. There's so many great ways to warm up. Definitely curious to what you do at home. Yeah, hope you warm up and then have a great practice session/gig. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for some more tips coming really soon. Hit up that notification button so that you will get to know first. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.